Let me take you back to a Prairie Earth Detention Center. Now, this is like 25 miles outside of Dallas, Texas. It's an ICE facility. And on July 4th at night, about 10 to 12 people, all in black garb, dressed really in military garb and with military gear. They had flak jackets, bulletproof vests, et cetera, et cetera. 10 to 12 people come, and they start firing fireworks at the facility. Okay, then the crowd kind of breaks up a little bit. There's two people that break off to the side, and they go after these ICE vehicles, and they start, spray painting ICE pigs and everything else. That brings out the two ICE officers. Two of them come out unarmed, and they come out to try to get the guys to stop spray painting the trucks and the vans, et cetera, et cetera. When they do, snipers in the woods, unseen until now, snipers in the woods start firing at these guys. One of them is hit in the neck. Thank God he didn't die, but he's hit in the neck. They're unarmed. Then everybody scatters. What does this mean? Jason is in because we've been talking about it yesterday, and we talked about it early this morning. And this, he believes, and I do too, that this is a change now that we're going to start seeing in the future from the left, because we've got two other stories to link to this. But let's focus on this one first. Jason.
I'm just shocked that this is not getting a lot more, attention in the media. But the way this attack was carried out, it shows complexity. It shows.
So wait. I read that it said that it's this was a very complex operation. It really doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you got a couple of guys in the woods, you got 10 or 15 people throwing off fireworks, and then you have some people spray painting. So what do you mean it's complex?
Like I mean, if you've ever seen like a military movie, or if you actually know military tactics, this is the kind of plan that they would actually execute. And this was not just a bunch of they are thugs, but this is not just a bunch of random people with no plan that decided to piss off the ICE facility and get some news. They had a force in reserve out in the woods concealed. They had a plan, is what it sounds like, to make a distraction. Then another plan to draw people out. The people that were in reserve waited for all of this to happen. They didn't join in, with like an anger rage mob. That's not what this was. This was a step by step plan to hurt someone. That's what this was. And if you're looking at the evolution, I know there's a lot of veterans right now that are listening and saying, wait a minute, this sounds very, very familiar. This kind of sounds like what I saw in Afghanistan. This kind of sounds like what I saw in Fallujah. Yep. And you would be right. It is.
So this is why this is so important. This has now changed towards military operations, at least military style operations. This is not just a group of, thugs that are, getting wild and then shooting things up. As Jason just said, this was a well thought out plan to draw people out. We saw this in Idaho with the fire. Start the fire, bring the firefighters up, and then be waiting for them, and then shoot them. That's a plan. And the plans are starting to go towards military or terrorist-like activity. Now, there's a second story, Stu, the USAID color revolution. Let me just remind you, USAID was a CIA front, okay? Everyone says, no, it was an aid organization and 16 million people. This is an actual story headline I read last week. 16 million people are going to die because they cut the funding for USAID. Bullcrap. USAID was started by the Kennedy administration, and it might have been started with good intent, but it was to stop the military, the CIA. He shut down one organization from the CIA that was an absolute front and said, we're going to stop that. We're going to do good with USAID. Well, the CIA just infiltrated the USAID, and they started doing the same thing. This is the group of people that started color revolutions all over the world, which was how to topple a nation. And we did it all over the world with our CIA, and everybody wants to deny it. When they cut USAID, what they did was cut the CIA. Now, listen to what's happened recently and what is happening currently.
We should note that what you just said is obviously a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Right? That is not, they don't do any of those things.
No, of course not.
Now, separate from that, this is what they're now admitting. Some of the democracy building experts, quote unquote, President Donald Trump fired this year from USAID and the State Department, are now reapplying their skills and knowledge that they built up over decades to undermine Trump's power. Take it from those who worked in authoritarian countries. This is a quote from them. One of these workers, anonymous
USAID.
federal worker. We become an authoritarian country. They were so quick to disband AID, the group that was supposedly instigates color revolutions, but they've done a very foolish thing. You just released a bunch of well-trained individuals into your population. If you just kept your offices going and had us play solitaire in the office, it might have been safer for you to keep your regime.
Now, this sounds like a patriotic aid group, doesn't it? So now what they're saying here is that they are plotting regime change in our own country. And here's what they've started to do. They're starting to do now workshops.
Yeah, they are. Let's see if I can find that part of it. Former officials reportedly told this news outlet, this is Notice, is the news outlet that reported on this.
Just want you to know, former officials of USAID.
They are holding workshops on a tactic called non-cooperation. They're building a network of government workers willing to engage in even minor acts of rebellion in the office. They're planting the seeds of what they hope could become a nationwide general strike. Some in the informal network of the Trump opponents are sharing an old CIA pamphlet with allies who still work in the government. It's called Simple Sabotage.
So your aid workers are now engaging in sabotage and color revolution, the aid workers of USAID. And you have Democrats that have been so convinced that USAID is going to starve people to death because he cut it, and now the aid workers, quote unquote, are planning revolution.